Hello and welcome to the College Football Mafia channel on the College Football Mafia Network. I'm your host, Nathan Bomber Brown. Welcome to Bomber's Blast or Blitz or something like that. I'm scrambling from news item to news item tonight, so apologize for being a little bit behind the timer as we go into our different shows and news this evening. But I wanted to make sure that I had coverage for any super chats. And I know for people that get new memberships, I want to call out your name. So I needed to open up another window to do that. I appreciate everybody being here tonight. This is Bomber's Blitz on the College Football Mafia Network. I'm your host, Nathan Bomber Brown. So it's my show. I appreciate everybody being here tonight. We have the latest release of the college football playoff and brackets, and there's no surprise there, unfortunately. I wish there was, but no surprises there to be had. And lots of news when it comes to the coaching carousel related to BYU, Penn State, and other news that has been out there that have sort of followed these openings and closings as coaches have continued to be hired from other programs and what that looks like. And the biggest deal, I guess, is we have the early signing period, which starts tomorrow. And Penn State has a whopping 5 players right now on their early signing period, which for a school like Penn State is not normal. That's wholly a byproduct of the way they treated and got rid of James Franklin in the middle of the season. It was really an emotional response. You could tell from their AD sort of wanting to excise all the demons in one fell swoop. But what he's come to find out is you can't just get any coach that you want to anymore. You have to fight for him. You have to be very cloak and dagger. You have to be able to move in the gray areas, as it were, out there in the coaching ranks. And he also fell afoul of Sexton, who is the coach. Sorry, not the coach, the agent of all these main tier 1 coaches in college sports. He pissed him off. So the AD got a lot to explain there at Penn State. So we will talk about that a little bit. But first, I want to thank everybody for being here tonight. We had another regular or irregular release of the college football playoff picks. So we'll be able to jump right into them as we start the show tonight. And then I want to get to as many of your comments and questions as possible today. I will follow the news that you want to follow. I've got some articles pulled up that we can refer back to if need be. But at the end of the day, the news that you feel is important, I will begin to track and we can talk about and certainly be willing to have conversations on. I believe I will have time tonight since the playoff release has already happened to take your calls. As I've said the last several weeks, I'll stick around as long as we have good conversations going around and we have super chats and memberships to cover that time. Right now, I'm banking on probably about 45, 50 minutes tonight. If we get going in the stories and it goes longer, I'm happy to track that. But we don't need to all sit around here just him and Han talking about stuff we've already talked about. If you guys have news you want me to cover, we can certainly do that. And I will do that to track the things that are important to you. Give me 1 second. This is live TV. I need to open up I always forget how hot it gets here in my office, even though it's winter and snow on the ground. Yeah, these computers and things get really hot, so I needed to open up that window and hadn't done it yet. So we will start off the show. First off with, let's just jump right into comments, and we'll sort of track from there. I'll get into the bracket, and then we'll start tracking news items as we go. So let's jump into comments right away. Buckshot Kid in the house. OG member of the College Football Mafia family at this time. That would be Buckshot Kid, and he says, "Oh, hey, Bomber, good to have you here, Buckshot Kid. I appreciate you. I am live tonight, so okay, there we go. Caden the Diesel Freak checking in. Good to have you here, Caden. Bomber, what's happening? I'm pumped. I'm pumped too. What's happening is BYU got to retain their coach, Kalani Sitake, and that's a big deal. We'll talk about that in just a little bit. I'll get to the news item that is around him, but it's bigger news than just retaining a coach. It goes much deeper, and I will talk about that experience as it's been to me the last 48 hours and how it might affect your school one day if it comes to that. Nobody is outside the realm of being poached, though. That's something we all need to keep in the back of our minds. There's probably 5 programs in the entire country that once they get their coach, they can keep them. Maybe if it's even less than 5. If they want to keep them, they're not looking for jobs other places. Notre Dame has looked for work in the past, trying to find somebody because their coach left them. It will happen again. Ole Miss is looking for a coach. And just goes round and round, as we know. So good to have you here, Caden. Thank you so much for being here tonight. And thanks for being a member of the College Football Mafia family. Let's see here. Caden the Diesel Freak says the Big 12 is on fire. Okay. I'm sure, Caden, you will call in. You will let me know what you mean by on fire. But sure, why not? McTruckin, I responded in comments, but I wanted to get to this too. Congrats on Sitake staying at BYU, Nate. I think that's great for both the Big 12 and BYU. Refreshing to see glimpses of loyalty and integrity in today's college football landscape. So let's just hit this head on right now. A quick storyline. Part of last week, actually weeks ago, there was early conversations with Kalani to see if he would be open to a possible change, going to Penn State and being the head football coach there. Those initial conversations happened weeks ago. It didn't just metastasize in the last several days, but an offer did metastasize in the last several days. The AD flew into Provo, talked to Kalani and his family, and felt that they had come up with a negotiated amount, salary, and they started talking about things like coaching staffs and retention and what players could potentially move on with Kalani, these types of conversations. And they were very far down the line when it comes to those pieces of information. And right here and now, I will tell everybody my biggest fear. Look, there's 2 things losing a guy like Kalani. One, you know what you're going to get. First one in the building, last one to leave. But more importantly, he's a culture builder, right? Somebody that can not only build culture, but can do it with a feisty air about him. There have been coaches that we've had at BYU in the past that have been one or the other. They've been feisty or they've been more holistic coaches. But they have not had the special combination that Kalani has. On top of Kalani being able to recruit at an extremely high level, higher than ever in BYU history. More importantly, they were able to retain players, keep them around, and want them to stick around through multiple seasons. As everybody knows, it's very difficult. At the end of every season, these players are essentially free agents every year. In the past, they have not been signing long player agreements that would bind their whatever they're being paid to long-term commitments. And there's been reasons for that. Maybe that's changing. I don't know. I haven't talked about it with people who would know for a little while. But the bottom line is those agreements essentially now expire every year. And they're going to stay that way until more systemic changes are made to all of college football. Maybe it comes through more legislation. Maybe it comes from more lawsuits, whatever. Those yearly agreements, each player gets to assess where they want to be for the next year. So when the season ends, they have this opportunity to go out and shop themselves around. And I don't count the bowl season as very important. Unless you get an appearance fee, which they're starting to do those now, a lot of players would skip a lot of those things because they don't want to get hurt. Or if they're getting ready to go in the NFL, they don't want to get hurt before they do the combine and whatnot. So Now we get ahead to where BYU's at now, and if you lose Kalani, you're not only losing Kalani, but you're losing entire recruiting classes. And not only entire recruiting classes, you're losing players that are on the roster right now. And then you're losing potential recruits 2 to 3 years down the road because he has recruited missionaries so well. So this was going to be a massive disruption at BYU. And I can't speak for disruption at other schools. I assume it's quite large. But at BYU, it would have been extra significant. So because of that, hanging on to Kalani was not just it would be nice to have. It was a necessity, a very bald-faced necessity to keep the program on the upswing, and it is on the upswing, and will continue to get better. I think you're going to see Texas Tech, BYU, and fill in the blank where you want with multiple schools. But for the upcoming next 5 or 6 years, I don't think those two are going to change. They're not going to go away. They're going to be up at the top. And there's other schools, don't need to get into those, but I think everybody knows who they are, that are going to continue to stay on that bandwagon. But the two that have extra ability to stay there are BYU and Texas Tech because of their NIL and the way the NIL works at both universities. So to lose Kalani to Penn State, which is where he was slated to go as of Sunday, even Monday, they had called a meeting locally that was supposed to be to essentially announce to the players and staff that he was going to be leaving. What happened to stop that was it got made public. And I don't know how this happened. This is going to take a 30 for somebody to sort this out. But at some point in the last 48 hours, the total deal leaked. And it was known what was taking Kalani away. And it wasn't just salary. It was opportunity. It was certainly payment for his coaches. And there was some politics on the backside at BYU, which if there's politics at a state university, fine, well and good. Politics at a private, especially church institution, is whole next level, everybody. Like, you would have to be in it at some point to work there to understand what it really looks like. Having worked at the church, I know exactly what it looks like, and it is something else. So politicking came into play, and the word got out that he was probably going to be leaving. In that process, word got out to boosters, and when I'm talking boosters, 1 or 2 billionaire booster might be at a state university in the Big 12, and I'm sure each school has their own, right? At BYU, it's like 5 or 6 billionaire boosters, and when they get involved, literally, like, you just snap your fingers, they can make money come out of really anywhere. If they need it, if the school desires it, it can be made available. And what happened is these boosters found out they were about to lose their coach and put the word out. And I'm sure they all have a WhatsApp group or something, all these guys. And they're like, okay, we're going to lose Kalani. 1, do we think that cost is going to be something we can bear? And 2, why are we losing Kalani? What does he need? What is he looking for? And Kalani, while he was looking for a raise, that was not what the big thing was at BYU for him. It was his coaches. While Kalani was severely underpaid, and for years, the fan base has been asking for massive raises for Kalani Sitake. I've put out multiple tweets the last 2 or 3 years saying they got to extend this guy, not extend him with just some small 10% raise. I'm talking they needed to give him millions and millions of dollars more to keep him around, and more importantly, to keep him happy, because they had let that slip. And I don't know who we want to blame, if it's Tom Homo, who did wonderful things at BYU, got him into the Big 12 and all that. Was he looking for early retirement last year? Maybe had left their eye off the ball a little bit. Whatever happened, they fell way behind. with Kalani. But more importantly, if they were way behind with Kalani, they were massively behind with the coaching staff. And it wasn't looking like it was going to change. And this is where the politics come into play. The new AD at BYU, Brian Santiago, he's a you love him or hate him kind of guy with BYU boosters that drop loads of cash with the athletic department. He's not necessarily high on a bunch of people's lists. Now, I'm not going to give names, but I've heard specifically of a few massive boosters that simply don't like to deal with the guy. And that by itself is an alarm bell to me, right? Being a lifelong Cougar, I cannot even imagine what it's like to be in the building and frustrated that your AD is in love with another sport, for instance. Because he is. Brian Santiago was in love with basketball. That's what he played at BYU. He was a basketball player, and that's his first love. And it shows. You can look at the money being put into basketball has been woefully neglected in football. And this is what had to change. So just in the last 12 hours, reports have come out, not any that I'm willing to release, but I've seen some behind the scenes stuff, and reports have come out that he's going to be completely removed from football oversight. He might have some administrative stuff going for him, but Kalani's now well and truly in charge of the football program, which can only be good for retaining coaching and for indeed adding NIL funds to get more better players, to sustain players that are already on roster. And it wasn't going to be this little drab that money was going out to sustain the football program. It's now completely flipped. Basketball will be able to continue to be run the way it is, but football there's a new sheriff in town, and that sheriff will be Kalani Sitake, and maybe more booster oversight. I don't know what it is, but for change like this to happen at the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, they don't do things fast. And because the athletic department at BYU runs in a silo, they get no church money. The dichotomy between control of the assets, which is the athletic department, and control of the money feeding the assets, which is separate from the church, there's a lot of conflicting stuff that comes out because of that. And Kalani was going to go. He was going to go. This is not anything I'm revealing to you. It was reported yesterday that he was out the door, which is why I didn't do a show last night. I was going to do a college football playoff selection pre-show yesterday, and I did not want to get out there and be exposed to you fine people not having answers about Kalani's status. So we're doing the show tonight. I was going to do the show either way, but tonight I can report back to you that BYU is now in Kalani's hands for football. The program has never been more rich in talent and resources. And I think you can honestly say that where maybe there were some cloak and mirrors, no, sorry, that's not how you say it, smoke and mirrors about how much money BYU was putting into football in general, all that's been stripped away, and now it's made apparent on several reports that BYU's NIL for football is going to go up. So crisis averted. We can get into this in further details, but I'm going to cut that off now because there's other things you good people want to hear and talk about. But if you're a BYU fan, or if you're a fan of the Big 12, you should be celebrating this move. It solidifies how good the conference looks. It can retain its coaches, which is so important. The Big 12 up until this point has been looked at as a feeder conference. These schools simply cannot put up a fight and have to surrender like a turtle in abject horror on its back, trying to retain its coaches. And now this basically says you show loyalty to the right staff and you show them and give them the tools to be successful, they can go out and win games for you. And Texas Tech has now done it. They just re-upped Joey McGuire yesterday, or was it today? And BYU has taken some steps which is massive for the school, and very, very good for the conference. So that's where it's at. I think it does show, though, that college football is as much about integrity as it is about culture building. And to be successful, you have to build a culture. You cannot be a commercial success story in college sports. You have to turn it into a family-oriented thing. Has to be a culture builder. And if you've got a coach that isn't a culture builder, you might want to start looking for one, because those schools that aren't will be the stepping stools for everybody else. So, Muck Truckin', it's great to have you here. Thank you so much. Let's see. We'll keep going. The other Gygax, Daniel in the house. Good to see you, Daniel. Hi, everyone. Daniel put out another video, on a short video on Sunday. Catch it in the library section on the College Football Mafia channel on YouTube. And it's just a nice little short, but Daniel did a wonderful job on it. And I recommend everybody take a second to watch it. It's like a minute and a half long. So you're not having to work real hard for it. Let's see here. Sergeant Pickles, good to see you, Pickles. Washington did not do me any favors, Pickles, over the weekend. You guys, Washington should have beat Oregon for me. In fact, that would have been, I don't know if Moen did it, but that would have been the multiple betting scheme that you do where you put a little bit of money on like a parlay, is what it is, 6 or 7 leg parlay. If you were taking the 6 or 7 leg parlay to not give BYU help in the CFP, you would have made lots of money last weekend, because not one of them hit. Not one of the changes hit. So you would have won a bunch of money if you would have taken that. Let's see here. Pickles then says college football is better than any soap opera. That's a fact. Remember, for 27 months, and Pickles is a contributor around here, especially. I want to thank you for all you do for us, Pickles. Great to have you on the team. And yeah, it's a thing for certain. College football is a soap opera. Maybe the highest paying soap opera of all time, if you really want to break it down into billions and billions of dollars. Yeah, now Washington goes into bowl mode. Whatever bowl they go to, unfortunately. We needed them to do better. Anyway, he also says Oregon on the verge of losing both the OC and the DC. They did lose the DC. I saw that just before we were coming on the air. Pickles in the comments. You're going to have to say who that DC, where that job is. I can't remember. For the life of me, I had the tab open. Oh, wait, here it is. Going to Cal. Going to be the head coach. Tosh Lupoy is the next head coach at your Cal Bears. And he is the current DC at Oregon. So, but teams like Oregon don't lose anything. They just reload. Earl Carr, good to have you here, Earl. Thank you so much for being here. One of the OG of OGest sponsors of the College Football Mafia network. Appreciate you being here, Earl. Merry Christmas, Sataki stays. Yep, thank you very much. That says it all right there. It is Merry Christmas. I can now sleep. I've not slept well the last 2 nights because of this. Kaylani, good to have you here. Hilani, I think it's Hilani. Anyway, hearing that BYU's athletic director, A.D. Santiago, is feeling a lot of heat for the way he treated Sataki and how he was going to let him leave for Penn State. Yeah, he is taking a bunch of heat, and as far as I'm concerned, it's well-earned heat. I'm not a fan, if you can't tell, of Brian Santiago. I didn't want him to become the AD. Nobody asked me, though. So he has the job now, but he's not going to be over football any longer. I don't know if you've all worked hourly jobs like I have, when your boss calls you in for a meeting and he starts off the conversation with, so I was talking to Bill in HR today. That's not a good conversation for you. whether you stay or go, it's not a conversation that you want to hear because it means there's something you need to fix or change, or maybe just go turn in your key card. But whatever it is, you don't want to be in that room for that call, in that meeting. Brian Santiago has, I'm sure, made that trip, but he had to make it to a much higher party. President of the school and or maybe even a general authority of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. I don't know how they do that down there, but he was essentially going to let him go. And the reason that he's being called into the room isn't to get let go, but it's to let him know, one, he's being relieved of some duties, and two, that it took boosters to come in to rescue this deal, and it was all his fault. Never should have made it that far. So if you're a BYU fan watching right now and you're a fan of Brian Santiago, I'm not attacking you personally. I just don't think he's very good at his job. I don't need a one sport AD at BYU, and that's what he is. He's a basketball AD, and that's all he cares about. Well, I don't know, he might care about the Olympic sports, but the thing that brings the most eyeballs, the thing the church uses most for proselytization, if that's a word, or certainly for missionary work, is football. And he did not show an awareness of that. I hope he got reamed, I'll be perfectly honest, because he was going to let him go until the story broke into the public sphere, and then he lost control of it, and there's nothing he could do to save it. So David's, and let's see, David Sabanash. I know I've seen you before, David. Sorry, all the names are screwed up by YouTube, so I don't see everybody's proper call signs. But good evening, Bomber, he says. Thank you so much, David, and thank you so much for being a member of the College Football Mafia family. Matthew Kipp, at least the Big 12 got 5 teams in the top 25. Oh, boy. I hate this. I'll just say it right now. I hate the fact that the Big 12 has been relegated, but everybody that's a Big 12 fan, we have been relegated to the cheap seats. The ACC's been here for a while. We're just now joining them. And those cheap seats do not include the top seats in a college football playoff. And it's been like this now this is the second year, but it's very open and obvious that the Big 12 ain't it. I'm looking at, I only have the top 14 on this list. So I don't see, I guess, the rest of the Big 12, but Texas Tech's there at number 4. BYU's first out, 13. That hasn't moved in weeks. And Miami's solid in 14. Neither one of those schools is going to get in to the college football playoff unless BYU beats Texas Tech. And then Texas Tech and BYU will be in. And the first one out, it looks like, will be Notre Dame. And I could not be happier about that because I don't think they should be there in the first place. That should be BYU. But nothing we can do about it now. I will say this. If you're a fan of the Big 12 or you're a fan of a school that's in the Big 12, call your congressman. I don't care what you do. Get to your social media people, and everybody needs to hit back at the 5+7 or 5+11 scheme that Brett Yormark has been on record for 2 years now, saying we want to earn it on the field. Well, 2 years in a row, we've performed more than admirably and have not been able to earn it on the field. That's Brett Yormark's fault. And if he doesn't change his story, if he doesn't begin to support AQs, and if that means only 2 AQs and 4 go to the SEC and the Big Ten, fine. But right now, 2 is better than none. Sorry, 2 is better than 1. And that's all we're going to get for the foreseeable future. And who said that would happen? Me, Ute. I know there were other Big 12 social media influencers that disagreed with me and Ute. Ute and I, we have been on an island for 2 years now. People making fun of us, saying critical things, saying we're not being loyal to the brand, we're not supporting the Big 12, blah, 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 blah. I'm over it. Brett Yormark can do one thing and one thing only to get me back on his side, and that would be to support an AQ model in January when they go to try to finally settle what the next version of the CFP is going to look like. What it is now is not working. And if Brett hasn't figured it out now, he's not going to figure it out, everybody. He is what he is. The last 2 years, he waited to the last minute to promote BYU to get that second spot. And just sitting at his house there and wherever he lives outside Dallas and sitting in his fairly air-conditioned, I'm sure, quite high zip code area that he lives in, saying, oh, I'm here, BYU or even Utah, support our teams. No. It's going to take active polling, and it's going to have to start week 1. And if Brett Yormark isn't doing it, I say let's get rid of Brett Yormark. I'm tired of having this conversation. Absolutely tired of it. If he can't do simple math, then I don't know. I can't fix that. I cannot fix that, right? Simple math says the Big 12 will not get a second team in. The math he was using before was flawed, and we said so at the time. It's been flawed from the beginning. People have tried to reverse engineer and fix so that 2 teams can get in from the Big 12, and it will not happen. Those spots will continue to go to Notre Dame, the Big 10, and the SEC. That's it. It's full stop. And I'm not going to drop this until something changes. So if you haven't been around here, you haven't seen me in action, this is what I do. I agitate. Nobody scares me. You can't make fun of me and help me change my mind, convince me to support something that isn't true. What's going on right now is a disaster for the Big 12, and it will continue to be a disaster for the Big 12 until they get secured, guaranteed spots in the CFP. I'm all for 24. Let's go 24 teams. Screw with this 16-team incremental crap. Let's go to 24, get 4 guaranteed slots. The Big 12 or Big 10's in for it. And at this point, I realize the ACC is, they just, they're like a poor little puppy, say, don't hurt me. But at this point, if you're an ACC, you cannot be very happy with the way you're being treated. If you're Miami right now, on the outside looking in, you're not getting in the playoff, just like BYU, 2 years in a row when you deserve to be in. You're going to be agitating for the ACC to change too. But the way it is now is not tenable. And if it would do any good, I would tell BYU just to sit out next year and protest. No, I'm just teasing. I have to have my football. But Big 12's got changes, and we all of us together have to start agitating for those changes instead of, please trust me, I'm Brett Yormark, and I've saved your conference. Not once, but 1,000 times that's not true. He did one thing and one thing right. Well, he's done a few. He's done a lot of the basketball stuff right. He's screwed up football from start to finish. Continues to screw it up. Outside of bringing in Pac-12 schools, he has done nothing for football at all. Unless you count the WWE affiliation, which doesn't get us anything. Let's see here. Sergeant Pickle says Penn State is in a rough spot. It's not the mid-90s anymore. Everyone has money. I will say this, Pickles. I think Penn State was shocked and surprised with how hard the Big 12 came. BYU came to rescue Kalani. And if you have gone back and you watched any of those threads on Twitter, you'll see that Penn State has mad respect for BYU's fan base. I'm talking crazy respect. I have crazy respect for Penn State as well. But they are in a tough spot. But I'm glad it's their tough spot, not BYU's. Jan Hope checking in saying, hey, all good to have you here, Jan. Appreciate seeing you. Thank you tonight. Let's say Kalani one more time. BYU's AD Santiago supposedly thinks and acts that he's more important to the team's success this year than Satake and treated him really poorly. Yes. And if I was Satake, I probably would have considered leaving too. And I'm glad that that's not going to ever happen again. Kalani might leave in the future, but it won't be because of any interference from one Brian Santiago. Clayton Dalrymple. Good to have you here, Clayton. It's good to see you. By the way, any new people watching tonight, make sure you subscribe, follow on Twitter, subscribe on YouTube. And if you're on X watching right now, jump over to YouTube, open another window. Don't close this down because I want you to be here for this show. But open up another window and hit that subscribe button for me. If you want to consider becoming a member of the College Football Mafia family, hit the join button right in the middle of the screen while you're there. And our off seasons where we make, hey, this college football playoff time is going to be a lot of fun. We're going to do a lot of member events, probably member live shows, I think, going forward now that the regular season's over. And that should be a lot of fun. So I would encourage you to become a member now. And when those things come around, you can certainly dive in. And also, everybody, ask people in the chat. Everybody that's been around here for any amount of time knows our social media YouTube game is the best in the business. The videos we put out on realignment, the videos we put out on the business of college sports and all that fun stuff, we do better than anybody else. So I'd like to invite everybody to do that. I hope BYU wins this weekend. Yeah, I do too. And it's quite possible that Kalani's able to leverage this new found support that he's gotten from the organization and can motivate these kids to play a little bit better than they did last time. Just don't make the mistakes he made, and it's a closer game at the very least. But this time I do believe it's tough to beat a team twice in one season. So we'll have to see. But I'm feeling positive going into the game on Saturday. Stephen Vitt, if you want chaos, you'd want Duke winning the ACC title game with 5 losses. And if JMU wins the Sun Belt, they and the American champ can get into the CFP. And how much of a disaster would that be for the ACC? And how quickly would that change Jim Phillips? Well, maybe it wasn't. I don't know about Jim Phillips' attitude at all, or how much people respect him inside that league. But if the ACC gets completely left out because of their stupid tiebreakers, that's on them. That's on them. Miami should be in that game, and if not in that game, the ACC should pluck away the championship and give it to Miami and give them an opportunity to play, because Miami deserves to be in there, even though it does deserve to be ahead of Miami. Miami deserves to be ahead of Notre Dame. So in my way, it would be BYU first, Miami second, Notre Dame 50th or something like that. If you want chaos, yeah. What would it be? That would break the wheel if that happened, by the way. If the ACC gets left out, man, talk about a nightmare scenario for the A4. It's really an A2 at that point, really, isn't it? Let's see here. Castilian Crusader. That's a cool name, Castilian Crusader. Good to have you here. How do I call in? I will open the lines up as soon as I make it through the comments, Castilian. But I will certainly do that, and love to hear from you. I believe you're new to the channel, so make sure you follow me on Twitter, follow the channel on Twitter, and then subscribe on YouTube. Do that for me, and I'll definitely take your call. I will put the number to call in at the bottom of the screen. You won't miss it. It'll be on the reader. You won't have any chance. You won't miss it at all. Once I turn the phone lines on, you'll be able to call in. Let's see here. I'll get to Pickles' comment later. David again. Let's hope that UVA beats Duke so that is no extra major drama. I don't know. From a chaos perspective, I would kind of like to see that in the ACC, just because the ACC has been so uppity over the years. Certainly looking down to the schools that are in the Big 12, specifically my school, called out by itself. They have not been kind. So yeah, I from chaos perspective, I would love to see the ACC get left out. But that's a selfish perspective. I don't think most people want to see the ACC. Well, maybe they do. I don't know. I haven't done a poll, so it's quite possible a lot of people want to see the ACC get left out. I don't know. We'll have to find out. It certainly would make for an interesting CFP. Kaylani, if you're rooting for Duke this weekend, better hope for bad weather. No way that occurred in Durham a couple weeks ago would change, and the ACC is the only P4 that plays an outdoor championship game. Yeah, we'll have to find out. We will have to see. Let's see here. Keep going. Pickles again. Welcome to what happened at University of Washington last 2 seasons. Rebuilding a gutters program is rough. Jed has done a decent job. It is difficult. You're basically swimming upstream at that point. It is not an easy thing, and I'm glad that BYU misses that particular challenge this offseason. Becky, go Huskies, another contributor extraordinary around here at the College Football Mafia family. And NutriCost will never be sold to @Daniel. Okay. The NutriCost, there was a rumor that the NutriCost president or founder, actually, the guy who's a majority stockholder there or whatever, it's a private company, so I'm not sure there is stock even. He's the one who promised to make up some of the gap in the NIL and coaching funds. Becky, I've been told that isn't true, and he actually put out a note last night, actually saying, that wasn't me. So I don't know where that rumor started, but BYU's got 5 other billionaire boosters, so it could have been any one of them that did it. The one I'm sure of is the Crumble Cookie guy. He definitely has come out on several occasions and given money to the program. For whatever reason, he was in the dark until late yesterday, and once he got involved, that's when the story started to change. So he definitely helped get that done. Let's see here. Get to a few more comments before I open the phones. Pac-Man 579. Good to have you here, Pac-Man. Miami or Vanderbilt? Neither one. If I'm looking for this list, neither one's going to get in. Miami or Vanderbilt, neither one's going to get in. Because it has to be conference champions. And the next open spot is Notre Dame, and Notre Dame doesn't play again. So I don't know. Miami and Vanderbilt not getting in. Everybody, they're not going to get in the playoff. So it does suck. Matthew, Kip, it does suck that Utah dropped another 2. Hardly surprising though. They figured they got nothing to lose by dropping them. Yeah. Anyway. Jack Matheson, good to have you here tonight, Jack. Thank you so much for being here tonight. Thrilled that Sataki was retained. Yes, me too. Believe me, the last couple days have not been fun from a fan's perspective. Rock and Rant in the house. Somebody major supporter and booster of the Miami Hurricanes. Also has College Football Express on YouTube. I recommend everybody subscribe to that channel and follow Rock and Rant and his partner Miami Flow for that channel. They do great work, and Miami's very they should feel very good that they've got them in their corner. Let's go BYU, beat Tech. Tech stays in, of course. Yep, they will. Let's go Duke. Chaos for the ACC. I'm all for that. Let it burn. I love that. Also, I am the new Penn State head coach. All right. Awesome. I can evaluate game film, Rock. I'd love to come with you. I'd do it for nothing more than $2 million. I'd do it with you. Yeah, I want chaos in the ACC, and I want BYU to beat Duke. There's no doubt about it. James Madison in the back door. James Madison for the win. Rock says. Earl Carr, BYU committing $10 to $15 million in NIL. Satake's new deal, $9 to $9.5 million per year. Those were the amounts that were reported this afternoon, actually. The 10 to 15 million is on top of the 20.5 million that they are currently providing, and that puts them in the top, I believe, 10% of all football programs, $10 to $15 million, which would put them at, in today's dollars, roughly around $36 million for a football program, which is amazing. And I can't wait to see the team that they're able to put together. A signing day that was going to be historic by BYU's counting tomorrow has now become, it's gotten bolstered. Now they have more money to go get additional better athletes than Kalani had yesterday. And I'm so glad that he's getting the support. He's earned it and he deserves it. And I hope he gets everything he wants. So Earl, thanks for those numbers. I appreciate it. Pickles, funniest thing to happen now is Pipe be Brian Kelly to Penn State. Oh, brother. I don't wish that on Penn State at all. I would not want that. Brian Kelly, Penn State, please no. Please no. Come on, Penn State got to put up a fight. You can't devolve to Brian Kelly. Please no. Turtle on its back is abject horror. Play the sounder. In abject horror. Play the sounder. I don't have a sounders. I don't do sounders, Moen. You know that. Let's see here. Glenn Hanna, representing the Oregon Ducks in the house, lost Stein yesterday to Kentucky. So there's your offensive coordinator and your defensive coordinator. Are they sticking around for the championship run? That's the only question I would ask if I was an Oregon booster. Those would be the people I'd want to have in the building. Earl Carr, $5 super chat. Sorry, Earl, I got to your regular chat, but thank you so much for the $5 super chat. BYU committing 10 to 15 million in NIL. Satake's new deal, 9 to 9.5. Okay. I've gotten a little bit long worded here, so I'm going to try to get to a couple more comments, and then we're going to jump to the phones because I do want to hear from you tonight. I'm not concerned with the future replacements. They'll likely be good recruiters as well. I'm just wondering if anybody on the roster will leave with them or if they are more interested in landing. That's a good question, Glenn. I assume both these guys went with promises of additional NIL support to take the job. I'm just going to assume that came with the negotiations. If that's the case, then I would assume they would be able to give more money to players to move over than Oregon was planning on paying. So I do think there's an opportunity for Kentucky and Cal to bring in some good talent from Oregon. Certainly with new recruits, they could do that because it's the assistant coaches that have all the relationships with the recruits. So, yeah. Larry, the GM, the value of auto bids for the Big 12 is on display tonight. Thank you so much, Larry. You're exactly right. Larry is a Texas fan, and he knows exactly what those valuations should be. He's in sports, and he understands those values. So, yeah, definitely the Big 12 got to get in front of this auto bids thing. Trent Brown, my brother's namesake, not my brother, but my brother's namesake in the house. Valuable member, longstanding member of the College Football Mafia family. BYU is greater than Penn State. Huge day for BYU and the Big 12. Trent, we did good. We did a good bit of work over the last couple days. I will say this. I'd like to take just a 0.0001% piece of responsibility for turning the tide on the reporting around Kalani leaving. I was very obnoxious yesterday, openly begging, not only Kalani to stay, but for big boosters to step in and do their part. I doubt they listened to me at all, but I'm going to say it did because I did do those open pleas. And I will say this, BYU fans, a lot of them, especially fans that aren't necessarily fans of mine or primarily in the football program, a lot of people made fun of me. But I'm just telling all those guys, you're suckers because I was right and you were wrong. So, yeah. Thank you for the $2 super chat, Trent. I appreciate it. Rich Austin in here representing the University of Utah, running Utes, and also a valuable member of the College Football Mafia family. Until Big 12 admits it's half of what the P2 league is, nothing is going to change. Big 12 is not the same as P2, not even close. As Rich continues to remind everybody or anybody who brings up the topic. Yeah, I'm not going to get into valuations. I still would love to see 4-4-4 or 3-3-3 or 2-2-2, but time will tell. All I know is Brett Yormark's made wrong decision after wrong decision, and it's time for change. That's what I'm saying. Mark's Holy Grail in the house. Good to have you here, Mark. When are you going to start yelling mad as hell about getting screwed over the CFP by the CFP? The number one priority has to be 2 AQs and at least a 16-team playoff. I agree with both those things, Mark. Mark's Holy Grail. Everybody knows I'm on record screaming it for months and months and years now. It's not going to change. I'm going to continue to scream it. 16 is a absolute bare minimum. I think 24 is where I would like to light. The more bids that the Big Ten and hopefully a changed Big 12 can fight for, the better for our conferences. The Big Ten, I think, has proven that they pretty much are every year a 4-bid league. I think this year, if there were more bids, the Big 12 could have been certainly a 3-bid league to start off with. You could get creative and get to a 4th, but all I know is work needs to be done and done quickly to make this right, because where we're at now is not the solution. And BYU just needs to go out and prove to the world that they're, again, overperformers, as they have done their entire history, and beat Texas Tech. So we will see. Mark Solicrell, yeah, I hear you. I hear you now. I got you. I appreciate it. Thank you, Mark. I appreciate you hearing me now, and let's all get together. It's not about me being right or anybody else being wrong. Let's all get together and, as a community, as a Big 12 fan community, or even ACC fan community, get out and start screaming that AQs is where it's at. Because right now, the ACC and the Big 12 are just getting punked by the SEC. And it's broken, and it needs to be changed. Mr. Ed Wayner, representing Houston Cougars. Good to have you here, Ed. Also a valuable member of the College Football Mafia family. I have gone an hour. Oh, my gosh. I apologize, everybody. Time flies when you're venting. I'll get just 2 more comments, and then I will get to your phone calls. 16-team CFP with 222217 would be acceptable. I'd be super excited about that. If in a given year the SEC gets 3 at large, Big 10 2, and Notre Dame 1, let's see. That slot. I'm sorry, is my glasses reading? Is it lat slot? Could be a 3rd slot from Big 12 or ACC. Okay. Yeah. Let's just get together on it. That's all I'm saying. More comments, but I will get to those if I circle back and we run out of phone calls. Tony Lawson, haven't seen you for a minute. Good to see you, Tony. Becky and Sergeant Pickles, looks like your coach is staying put. Jed Fish is staying put. That's really, really good. That's good for the Washington Huskies. Need continuity for a few years up there. Earl Carr in the house doing heavy work. I appreciate you, Earl. $5 gifted, 5 gifted memberships, I should say. Thank you so much, Earl, for all the hard work you do, and go Cougars. I'm going to give you claps for all that hard work. And let me get to those people that those memberships went to. This is why it took me a second to open up those windows to make sure I could call these out. CHJ229, Rob Ellen. Good to see you, Rob. Jeffrey Bell. Pitt Snipe Husker. Good to have you here. Joe Peck. 8633, and that's it. You 5, thank you so much for being new members of the College Football Mafia family. Do a favor to everybody else and thank Earl Carr in the comments for giving you those free memberships. Don't cost you anything except for say hello and thank you to Earl Carr in the comment section. He is the one that deserves them, and we are very grateful that he was able to do that for us. We don't take it for granted. Anything that our members do, certainly Earl has gone above and beyond for us the last 2.5 years, and we really appreciate it. So those new members, consider becoming or paying it forward and giving somebody else a membership to the College Football Mafia Network channel, I should say. Pay it forward. I believe in karma. Karma is real in the world. I live my life like it every day. If I'm given any additional advantage that I wouldn't normally get, I always try to pass it on to other people. Shout out helps quite a bit, but consider giving memberships yourself. You can do that by going to the dollar bill next to the comment box on the chat session and click that, and you can give memberships. You can do what Earl has done so unselfishly. You do that, and I guarantee you will be paid back in great blessings, especially in this Christmas season. Everybody needs those blessings. So giving memberships gives you those blessings, and then it helps us keep the lights on around here. Thanks again, Earl. I appreciate you very, very much. If there's any others, here's one, the Ghost of Judah Tribe. Ghost of Judah Tribe. Thanks for being here tonight, man. Miami lost to Louisville. They're bums. Hey, now. I don't say that. I will say they shouldn't have lost to Louisville. I will definitely say that. But yeah, I don't know what else you could do with that. It's tough. You lose one game, and it's basically you're one game and out anymore. And it sucks. It sucks. It shouldn't be like that. Certainly with the ACC and the Big 12, it should not be like that with your best brands, for certain. If we were in auto qualifiers, Miami, or for that matter, if we even went to 16 teams, Miami would be in and BYU would be in. And that would make us much happier. But it's not right. And it needs to change. So I encourage everybody, get behind your individual school, the people that pull strings at your individual schools, and do what you can to help change the narrative. Because right now, the narrative is, and will continue to be, you're not good enough, and you need to be better to be in the CFP. And that's all that we do. Anybody who does anything is doing it to get into the playoff, and we're not able to do it. Bulldog Mississippi, thank you for being a member of the College Football Mafia family. Appreciate you being here tonight. Evening, good to have you here. Gotta love those cowbells, man. Mississippi State's one of the best environments to have a football game. Unfortunately, I couldn't make it to the BYU game. They went last year or 2 years ago, but I'd love to go and see a football game there, certainly. And then one more, and then I will get to calls. Bart Willoughby, thanks for being here tonight, Bart. Majority of these teams are Bumba, weak schedules. Bart, I don't know what you're looking at. BYU strength of schedule and strength of record are within the CFP teams that are competing. They're second, I think, in strength of record, and in strength of schedule, I think they're fifth out of 12 teams. Both are higher than Notre Dame. So don't talk to me about schedules. It's not about strength of schedule or strength of record. It should have been. We were told in the offseason it was going to be, but it did not turn out to be that way. So anyway, we will go here. And I would like to tell everybody now I will be opening up the phone lines. Let me get my banner that shows my phone line number. There we go. 801-899-6203. I will turn on the phone. Please, when you come in, trying to keep calls to a shorter amount of time. We've got only about an hour to do this, the rest of the show. And I want to get in as many calls as I can. I know a lot of people are anxious to talk tonight, and I want to get as many of those calls in as I can. So, yeah, please do me a favor and try to keep your calls short, to the point. I'll try to keep you moving along, but don't take it personal if I tell you I got to move along to another call. It's just I'm trying to keep things moving. and that's the only reason. It's not for any other reason. I think that's all the business I need to do. So I will open the phone lines now, 801-899-6203, and call in and let's talk. Let's talk sports in general. Talk about whatever you want to talk about. If you are a joke online and you're not a nice person, I will boot you. Just that's my discretion, though. Completely my discretion.
Call from
Caden the Diesel Freak, Nathan.
Hi, Caden. How are you?
Nathan, how you doing tonight, good buddy?
I'm doing fine. How are you doing?
You know, I want you to say this. How dare the person say that BYU, Texas Tech don't have tough schedules this year? They have. And here's my thing I say. BYU should be in the college football playoff rankings at this point with Miami. Because let's be honest, Texas Tech and BYU had two of the toughest schedules in the Big 12. And not only that, they played each other. So I don't know why BYU shouldn't be in the playoffs.
I think some people just say that without even knowing the data. Like, I don't know if Bart Willoughby, who is the one who made that original comment a couple seconds ago, he might not know what BYU strength records, strengths of schedules are. I just posted it on the screen. Larry, the GM, was kind enough to post that. Those aren't joke schedules, is all I'm saying.
No, I will say this. I'll bet you he's probably a Notre Dame fan because he probably don't want to play BYU. Because all Notre Dame fans are all have all their ego. Personally.
Yeah.
But let me get to the point since this is business.
Sure.
And I say this 100%. Ohio State, BYU, Texas Tech should play each other in the playoffs. That is not a question. And I give both credit to both programs. I'm not gonna say BYU's not a good program. Like that's stupid on my end. But yeah, Bart, I don't know what your problem is, but BYU should be in the college football playoff rankings with Miami. Now as an Ohio State fan, we had an easy schedule to go through. Like I'm not gonna say we had a tough schedule. Like that's stupid of me. So. But yeah, hey Nathan, I do want to make a little wager with you.
Okay.
This wager is if BYU is in the college football playoffs and plays Ohio State, and that's if they win the first couple of rounds and they play us in the national championship. If y'all beat us, I will come on here and I will congratulate y'all Texas Tech on beating Ohio State. Now, I'm not going to gloat. That's it. But here's the other part. If y'all, I will come on here and say that was one hell of a fight. That was one hell of a game to be played because that's one of two tough teams in the Big 12 that can play some ball. And I've been watching, so, I feel pretty confident.
Okay. I would love to have you come on and do that. I'm just crossing my fingers that BYU can beat Texas Tech on Saturday.
Listen, I'm a man of my word and I'm a man of my promises. So I'm going to lay it to you there, Nate. So what do you say?
Well, I just said it sounds good to me. What are you asking from me?
I'll just say, do you accept my offer?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, what am I betting? I guess that's my question. What am I betting?
None.
Okay, then yeah, then sure, yeah.
Fair offer.
Yeah, that sounds fine to me. Yes, that would be fine.
Well, I'm glad I got that off my mind. I was gonna ask you that on my YouTube post recently. I've been posting some and whatnot, especially on my Twitter. And I've been talking about the Big 12 recently on my Twitter and how Notre Dame fans and Michigan fans can't respect the Big 12 and how some of the SEC, including Bama and Oklahoma fans, can't respect the Big 12. Well, unfortunately, they just don't respect it because, Oklahoma and Texas were the two powerhouses. But ever since they moved to the SEC, it's like they thought the Big 12 was garbage. And I'm like, I literally knew somebody from the Big 12 was going to step up after Texas and Oklahoma. Like, there's no question in that.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, you can only grade people's resumes by who they actually played and not sort of fanciful type setups. So at the end of the day, Texas, I think if they were at 2 losses, I don't think anybody questions they would be in the playoff. That loss against
Georgia was awful.
Well, but the Florida loss is what's keeping them out of the playoff right now. So
because Florida was unranked.
Yeah, I mean they only 4 games. They only won 4 games, I think, 3 or 4.
Yep,
so,
they only won 4.
Yeah, and they had
That's embarrassing.
They had an extra game to play with, but I do believe they would have been in the playoff with 2 losses. And if it wouldn't have been 3, they would have been playing on maybe not on Saturday, but the next week.
And let's get this straight, Nathan. And I've been hearing Notre Dame fans complaining and bragging about how their schedule is nice and how they don't have to play nobody tough except for the Miami, Texas A&M loss, which they don't consider to be real losses. Well, they just don't know how to they don't know how to swallow a loss. Unfortunately, that's just Notre Dame fans are just egotistical. But hey, as an Ohio State fan, I know that because we play them once or twice in a while, and we schedule them and we beat them. So it's like, what do you expect? They want to be independent because they want to either stay out of conference because they know their chances of getting good recruits and making playoff contention is a bad odd, especially if they ever move to the Big 12, the SEC, or the Big 12, because they know their odds go down from there.
Yeah, you got that right.
Let's make that perfectly clear.
Okay.
And as far as Ohio State goes, I'm feeling confident against Indiana, and I know we're going to beat them. Like, that's 100% a fact. The Frederick Mendoza, let me remind you, we beat them last year 38-50 in the horseshoe in the regular season. And that was with the number 1 defense in the country. And now we have, again, the number 1 defense in the country going into the Big Ten championship game against the same quarterback and same coach. So our odds of winning the Big Ten title is in Ohio State's favor. So I really don't see a problem with that. But I'll tell you this, I will be watching Texas Tech BYU in the Big 12 title game, and I will be watching that after, Ohio State beats the crap out of Indiana, but that ain't going to be no surprise.
Okay.
But yeah, I am going to be watching that Big 12 title game, and
good.
After that game, whenever you do a call-in show, I'll give you my honest thoughts on that one.
Okay. Yeah, that'd be good. We'll try to do it next week.
Yeah, because the first time that y'all played Texas Tech, I was like, woo, man, that was a real showdown. I was like, I literally have a bucket of popcorn, fully loaded with popcorn, and my root beer sitting next to me. And I'm just eating my popcorn with my feet up, and I'm like, daggone. Sometimes I literally almost thought I broke my chair.
The margins on that game were a lot closer than people want to give credit for. The BYU got off to an extremely slow start, turned the ball over early, and so I'm hoping for better things as we move forward. But Caden, I got to let you go. Anything else you want to say real quick?
Not really much. Love what you're doing, and hello to everybody else in the College Football Mafia, Dan, and everybody else. Nathan, I am going to be doing something Sunday afternoon, Sunday evening. I would like you guys to join me on. It's a Sunday show. There will be no Friday show. I am going to be giving my thoughts to the Big 12 because I need to get it off my chest. And Notre Dame fans, if I don't shut them up, it's just they're going to keep running their mouth on Twitter. How they are.
Okay. Yeah, we'll have to see. I don't do a lot of stuff on Sundays, but we can talk about it.
All righty, well,
Okay.
I appreciate you, sir, as always.
You
and
bet.
You have a great night, and go Cougs.
Go Cougs is right. Thank you so much. Talk to you later, Caden. Thank you so much.
Later.
All right, that is Caden. Let's see. There we go. I was just going to say to call. All right, whoever just hung up, call me right back. Yeah, I literally clicked the button. Caden disappeared, and it wouldn't connect your phone line. So call me back. Whoever is that 301 number that.
Call from
Rich Austin.
Hey, Rich.
Nate, what's going on, brother?
Not much, just living day to day.
Well, listen, I wanted to call in because I know you think I'm not a fair guy, but I am. And I was calling in for one reason. I wanted to congratulate you. I want to congratulate all your listeners that are BYU fans.
Mm-hmm.
What happened today was a very big deal, a very, very big deal for BYU. And I have to admit that and recognize that as a Utah fan. I can tell you that all Utah fans were hoping for Kalani to get that Penn State job because it would have meant massive disruption to the BYU football program. So that was a very big deal, keeping that in place and keeping what you guys have going in place. And I just wanted to say congrats because I know that's a huge deal. Not just paying him what he deserves and the coaching staff, but the NIL commitment that your boosters stepped up to and made is a very big deal. And if there's one thing that I want you to know about me, Nate, and you might think I'm just trolling you all the time, but the only thing I can't stand is when people put out phony baloney and nonsense that isn't true. And if you think back to, some of the conversations that we had early on with you and Jeff Fuller, you guys were not being truthful with the commitment BYU football had made. And I said very clearly, BYU had gone all in on basketball, but it had yet to go all in on football. Well, that day has come. And as a Utah fan, I'm absolutely scared of what the future holds because your boosters have come off the sidelines finally, and it's going to be a very big deal. And it wasn't that way before. I know you guys like to spin it, but it wasn't. But it is now, and it's a big deal. So congrats to all you guys.
Thank you for that, by the way. And it would have been major disruption, and we would have lost recruiting cycle after recruiting cycle, and rebuilding the coaching staff. It would have been way ugly. So all that is true, and I appreciate you saying that. I can't speak for Jeff, but from my standpoint, I was going off of what I'd heard. I'd heard reported that they were contributing on top of the 15 or 16 million that was the 20.5. I was told they were getting an additional 10, and it wasn't until the numbers came out today for what Kalani got commitment for now that we found out that we were all being schemed. And I don't know if Jeff knew that or not. He's a little bit closer to the program than I am, but I don't think anybody was doing that for a reason of disinformation. I think for me, I'm willing to admit I just didn't have the right number. And when it's come to find out and everything that was exposed through this whole process, you could not be more accurate. The 10 to 15 that's now being reported that is Kalani's going to demand not only from the school but from the boosters. I think it's night and day compared to what they've been getting, and what they've been getting, it come to find out, has been about 5-6 million, and for football that's nothing, absolutely nothing. So it really does make a big difference.
So I'm pretty tapped in with my sources at both Utah and sources that have really direct sources to BYU as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I've known the numbers. I've known Kalani's been getting paid $3 million a year, way underpaid.
Yeah.
I've known that BYU's NIL has been around $5 million, and Utah's NIL has been around $6 million. So not much higher. It's been relatively about the same. But what you guys just did today is a very big deal, and I'd be a fool not to admit it. It's got all. If it doesn't have Utah fans in the know scared, it will, because it puts you guys on, a level that the P2 teams are spending. Texas Tech has been there, but like I said, BYU and Utah have been basically the same for the last several years. So I don't know. I mean, you know, it's scary what you guys can do from here on out. And I wish I could say that Utah had those 5-6 whale boosters that you guys have. We don't. And
Yeah.
so, you know, it's going to be, we'll see where things go. But yeah, anyway, you guys should be very, very excited. It's huge news. I'm a big Kalani supporter. He was huge at Utah. We love him.
Right, for sure.
And I think it's great news for him. I did hear, and I don't know if you've heard this too, but I heard that when Santiago about botched the whole thing, Santiago's plan was to make Jay Hill your head coach, and that's who he wanted. And I heard that Jay Hill turned him down for health reasons. So I don't know if that's true, but we've all been thinking that Jay Hill wants to become a head coach. And I don't know, maybe his health concerns are more serious than we realize if that really did in fact happen, because he might just be in the dream job he's at BYU as a DC, which would be great for you guys. I mean, it's great, but
yeah, I think that's the only explanation for why he stuck through 2 hiring cycles. He by all reports should have left last offseason. So the fact that he stuck around, I have put out feelers about his health, and I had returned that he's comfortable at BYU. But the thing with Santiago, one, I'm not a fan. And
I'm not
2,
either. Yeah.
he's
a
basketball.
Fan, but yeah, I hear you.
He's a basketball first guy, and it was
for sure
painfully obvious now that we know all the numbers that have come out. And the boosters, by the way, I don't think knew the full import of how much he had constricted information and how he controlled what each silo knew. But now that it's all been laid bare, I agree with you. I think BYU has gone from strength to much bigger strength. And it will be interesting to see. I don't know what Utah can muster. I mean, Kyle's been begging for funds for a decade. And if they haven't gone up much more than they were even just a few years ago when the tap has basically been turned on all the way, I don't know where those additional funds will come from. So I know BYU, believe me, I have not slept well for 2 days. I have not been a well person for 2 days, knowing that this had become a real thing. Yeah, and for all the reasons you've mentioned, and some I mentioned a little bit earlier in the call, that the disruption that it brings when a coach leaves. Not only do you lose the coach, but you lose all the coaches that want to go with him. All the players that are on the roster that want to go with him. And then on top of that, we have these backloaded talent pools that are based into the missionary field that would have all gone to New York. I don't know how many they could have retained. And as Brian Santiago, if he was putting everything in the Jay Hill basket, that just shows you how to touch he was, because it's been apparent to me for the last several months that he's kind of happy where he's at. Now, that doesn't mean another program can't come along and throw a bag at him and he'll be happy to move. But I know he likes where he lives, is living now. He has kids that are in the Provo School District that are very happy. His wife's happy where they live. So unless something changes massively, I don't see him going anywhere.
I don't either. I just wonder how much truth there is to the health concerns and the health risk with his heart. Because that's serious, and if that's maybe a deal that he has with his wife, that he's just not going to take on the added stress and weight of being the CEO of a program. That's totally understandable, and therefore he's in a great gig if that's what he wants to do. But
for sure.
But as far as Utah's concerned, I mean, we're definitely not at that level that BYU announced today, and I don't see us getting to that level of NIL resources, not even close. So that's going to be a definite change. Because up until now, I've seen it pretty even, pretty level playing field, and that's going to change. So
it'll be interesting to see how this recruiting, that starts tomorrow, early signing period starts tomorrow. If it makes a big difference now that Kalani's got the credit card essentially, and he can go out and spend to whatever he needs to bring in kids that maybe before he couldn't throw a lot of money at it. Now he can say, I've got, not only do I run my own program now, which has to be a huge weight off his shoulders, but he can pretty much at his will pay whatever is needed to bring in a recruit. So it's good things for BYU. And I'm choosing not to engage on the Utah stuff only because I don't think we fully know what's going to happen once Kyle finally says he's gone.
Well, there's a lot of Utah fans holding our breath right now because we thought he was going, and it's time for him to go. We need him to go because we don't want to lose our future.
Yeah.
We don't want to lose our future. I mean, Scally would give us another 20 years of
Yes.
a successful program, and if
Yep.
we let Kyle hang around for another year to the detriment of letting Scally walk,
Yeah.
we're facing having to hit the reset button, and then our program could be set back a decade. So it's serious whenever you mess around with hitting the reset button, and we don't want to do that. So I just heard today, in fact, that there's, we thought we had it all lined up where Kyle was good with finally calling it quits this year, just like last year, and now he's waffling again. So
Is he really?
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what to tell you other than I'm really concerned. I'll be honest with you. I'm going to have the sleepless nights for a while now because, yeah, that really could crush us. So we'll see.
Well, I don't wish that on you, brother. You and I will jaw back and forth, and for everybody, it's nothing but respect for everything that I know and what you contribute to the Utah fan base. And I think it would be if for some reason they fumble this offseason, I don't know what next season's going to look like, to be honest with you, because you got some people coming in that could make a change. Positively on the offensive side, especially got some skilled talent that's slated to really take a big step forward in the offseason. I don't know if they're going to stick around, for another Kyle waffling season. I just somebody needs to force him out at the end of the day.
If he does, in fact, just walks away, I think we're in great shape. I mean, even with BYU's big announcement today, I will say this about Utah. It's not, I mean, yeah, you guys would certainly have a leg up on us with the NIL resources, but I will say this about Utah's program. It's nothing new to us. We were up for the 13 years we were in the pack.
Right.
We were up against the USCs and the Oregons and the Washingtons that completely outgunned us in recruiting and money and resources. And, Utah's a program that's made a living off of punching above its weight. So I think that we've got the coaches in place for sure to be competitive, but I'm not going to sit here and lie through my teeth and say you guys don't have a big advantage with that NIL. It's exciting for you guys. So
it's certainly going to be fun for Kalani to walk around strutting like he's the bee's knees for a while, because it's obvious that he's been tied up in the back room as a hostage. And Brian Santiago, I would not surprise me if some of these big name boosters haven't had conversations with leadership with the university, if not the church, saying, look, what he did and tried to do with Kalani was not okay. And we're going to now be paying attention to what happens with basketball, because he is I don't think he's passing the test. I wasn't happy with the hire in the first place, for that matter.
I mean, I don't, I just know friends that know him and have had run-ins with him and things I've heard. But I mean, the guy sounds like a complete jackass, to be honest with you. And I will say this from a fan of a program who has a jackass at AD. I know what it's like.
Right.
I know what it's like.
Yeah.
I mean, we can't get rid of Harlan fast enough. But anyway, I think Chad Lewis would have been a better fit. But
wow,
anyway,
that's a name that came up in spades during the time, but he was anointed evidently for months and years before Santiago was the guy in the room. So, I getting rid of him is not going to take much, though. You piss off the boosters that are giving you money to keep you competitive. That's not going to last long.
Well, that's what I heard he had going for him. I heard he had all those whale boosters in his back pocket. And
No,
that's
not true. That's not true, actually. I come to find out through this. I did some research and found out that that he's made a few people upset, because you either love or hate the guy. There's no middle ground with him. If you at any point had concerns about his judgment, this Kalani thing really opened people's eyes. And certainly in the building, it's making a difference.
the smart move that Kalani made, it sounds like, and I know Kyle did the same thing because Kyle can't stand Harlan, is I believe that Kalani got it worked out where he's got a straight line now to President Reese, and he doesn't even have to go through Santiago.
That's exactly right. Yeah, Santiago has nothing to do with football at all. Yep.
Yeah, Kyle does the same thing with Harlan. He's got a straight line to President Randall, and he doesn't even deal with Harlan. And I know that's a big deal because, I mean, I heard there was damage that was done between those two, and that was a big concern if it was repairable or not. It doesn't sound like it needs to be anymore.
No, and in fact, he might be looking for work too if he continues to screw stuff up like this. I mean, this honestly, for a Utah, I think it would have been easier to sort of deal with that level of turnover that you might have had because you do have such an advantage and all these other things that we haven't had for a long, long time, just had for a couple of years. BYU, it would have been a completely different thing. It would have been, especially if Jay doesn't want to be the head coach, there isn't a natural fit at that point, and they would have lost a bunch. I mean, defense is where this team's built, and it would have been ugly for sure.
Trust me, we were all Utah fans were crossing our fingers, but
I know, I understand, I get it, I understand. And if I was in the same shoes for Utah, I probably would have been thinking the same thing.
But no, it's a great day to be a BYU fan, and you guys should absolutely celebrate, and just wanted to give you guys your flowers.
Well, thank you so much. Hopefully Kalani can turn that into a win on Saturday.
Yeah, I mean, tall order. I don't know. I good luck to you guys on Saturday. Texas Tech, I don't know. That first game was, it did not look like you guys. I don't know. We'll see if it's a different game and a different field, but I don't know. I don't know what to say there, dude.
I don't know either. I wish it wasn't.
They're legit. Yeah. Oh, anything could happen on a one game,
right,
60-minute playoff. I have to be willing to admit that, but they dominated that first series, and I don't know. I mean, that just their defensive line manhandled you guys, and I don't know. I think, and I know where BYU fans are coming from with all this, 10 or 11-1, and you guys belong in and stuff. But I'm not trying to troll you and anything. I don't believe Utah or BYU belong in the CFP this year, from what I've seen. And I think they're very, very close to the same team. You guys won the head-to-head, so I give you guys the nod up above us. But I don't see a whole lot of difference between Utah and BYU this year, and I don't personally. If I'm being honest and objective, I just don't see two playoff teams. But when I compare them to Texas Tech, Texas Tech is on a whole higher level, and that's how the committee sees it as well. And I don't fault the committee for that.
I wish we were dealing with auto bids, so then we wouldn't have to have this conversation. That's what
I said that in my post.
Yeah, they shouldn't.
I said that in my post. I said 4-4-2-2-1-3 was an absolute gift.
Yeah, it was. I know.
To the Big 12 and the ACC. And you and I talked about this when it first came out. We did a show together. I remember that. And I said it's an absolute gift. Like, it's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
Take the gift.
Yeah.
And you said too. You agreed with me, and so did Wild Ute. And look where we are. It's Big 12's a one-bid league. I don't see that changing. But.
Yeah, it's 2 years. It's going on almost 3 years now since we first talked about it around here. And I thought 2 was a gift, and I was ready to take it. And I just don't know if anybody's going to hold your Mark accountable for his words, because we're wholly here because he wasn't willing to adapt and bite his ego. So I don't know what's going to happen this offseason. So.
If he would have just taken the deal, you guys are in, right?
Right.
Texas Tech and BYU are in.
Yes.
So
yeah.
Anyway, I think it was the stupidest move, and I could not believe for the life of me that Big 12 fans fought it on this stupid principle that we can't admit we're half of what a P2 team league is.
Which is bigger, half or zero? Because right now it's zero.
Yeah. Anyway.
I mean, get two teams in, maybe a third on a good year, and you can at least compete to try to win the thing. Getting one team in every 12 is almost impossible to win the whole shooting match.
Yeah, you most likely won't get a third bid, but at least you have a shot at it, and
yeah,
you're
that's right.
two.
Yes. Yeah.
But anyway, I just could not understand the thinking. But
I can understand the thinking.
Anyway.
It's ego. It's people that have, thinking that, well, I'm just as good as the next guy. I breathe air just like they do. I should be able to get. That's not how the world works. The world works in power dynamics, and right now the power resides with the SEC and the Big Ten, and I don't see that devolving anytime soon. I'd rather jump to 24 and everybody gets 4 in, but whatever. We're a long way away from that again, so.
Yeah. Well, listen, I'll land the plane so that others can call in and talk to you. But
thanks, Austin.
Anyway,
it's good to talk to you.
Congrats, brother. You too.
Bet.
And good luck to you guys on Saturday.
Okay, we'll see you later. Bye.
All right, man. Bye.
Good claps. Both those calls, both Caden and Rich Austin in the house. I appreciate both of them calling. Call in right now, 801-899-6203. That gets us off to a good start. We've got 25 more minutes. I'm willing to take calls, and I will read comments. Let me get to some more. I don't think I ran across any more super chats. I haven't. So let me get through some more of these comments that we've got marked. In the meantime, give me a call, 801-899-6203, and I'll talk about whatever you have on your mind, as it were. Sergeant Pickles really hopes Sataki can become for BYU what Ferenc is for Iowa. I would just say the dream would be Kalani becomes the Lavelle times 2 of BYU, right? Redux, I should say. Lavelle Redux. His coach was Lavelle Edwards, and he has a very fine example set for him. Just so everybody knows, by the way, Lavelle Edwards had chances to go coach in the NFL. He was at BYU for 29 years. And at the time, I think he had the third most wins in all of college football history at the time. I don't think he's there anymore, but he had opportunities to go to the NFL. The one that was the biggest was the Detroit Lions in '84, right after the national championship. Detroit came and said, we'll pay you whatever you want. And he almost took the job, but decided to stay and became legendary, right? Now a stadium's named after him. That's where Kalani can be. And I said that in the comments on Twitter as we were hearing concerns that he might actually leave. I'm like, Kalani, don't go anywhere. We can build a statue for you. We can name whatever you want after you, if it makes you happy. But anyway, yeah, we're not going to have to deal with that now. But certainly Ferenc, I think he stayed too long at the fair, to be honest, Ferenc. Just like Kyle, as Rich Austin just said, he's a die-in-the-wool Utah Ute. And he says it's time for Kyle to go. Honestly, Kyle should have gone last year. I think they're more successful this year if Kyle's gone. But man, if he sticks around another offseason, that would be a disaster, I think, for the Big 12, for the Utah Utes, in my opinion. Kalani again, BYU's athletic director, who just took the position this year, was going to let Sataki go with 0 fight and promotes the DC. There you go. And Rich Austin just said that. Yep. I'd heard that as well. I hadn't heard that he wasn't so much into the job, but I'd heard that he was going to go anywhere from be the head coach at BYU to go with Kalani to Penn State to, heaven forbid, going back to Utah, where he coached before. That would have been the nightmare scenario. If it goes to Penn State, fine. But going back to Utah would have been an absolute disaster. But so far, he's staying with Kalani, and he's going to get a raise out of it. So hopefully his recruiting will continue to go. Call me right now at 9962.
Call from
Town Hawk.
So Town Hawk, how we doing tonight?
Hey, Nathan, happy holidays, man. Hope you and your
family are in good health and had a great holiday weekend.
We did all right, and thank you so much. I appreciate those well wishes. We're doing okay. What's on your
Well,
mind?
you did a lot better than we did on Friday.
Yeah, a little bit.
New and interesting ways of losing games that you have no business losing. Oh my goodness, it's such a frustrating feeling.
Yeah,
But,
that would
I
have been frustrating because you guys did exactly what Kansas State had done the week before and had them. You guys should, coulda, woulda, shoulda won that football game.
Yeah, you get down on the 5-yard line. Why not run a rollout pass instead of run the ball? But I'm not a coach.
We both have offensive coordinators that love to do crazy things on goal to go. I hate it. So what's going on?
It'll drive you crazy. Not much. It's just there's a lot of stuff going on. Something it's bugging the heck out of me. But it's just the way of the world. The Lane Kiffin leaving his team when they make the playoffs.
Yeah,
is just absolutely crazy to me.
Yeah, that's brutal.
I mean, it's not the first time though, because Brian Kelly had left Notre Dame when they had a really good shot of getting into the Final Four.
They did, yeah.
So there's kind of a precedent for it, but I don't know there's going to be something change. Everybody's complaining about the new only signing day now and doesn't match up with the academic calendar and yada yada yada. But
right,
I really think what's going to happen this year is you're going to have ESPN is going to take a really long, hard look at what happens on the ratings of the Ole Miss game if there's a drop or something, and I can see the TV executives coming in and saying, "Hey, you guys are going to not do this thing where the coach doesn't show up for the playoff games that we're giving you $1.5 gazillion for,
Right.
And I think that's where the stress point's going to come from, but I could be wrong.
That could be. You could be right. That could be where the conversation dwells. There's no doubt about it.
What do you think is going to happen? Obviously, if BYU wins, they're going to get 2 in this year.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think they're going to make an adjustment if the Big 12 gets 2 in this year?
I'm not sure what's to adjust. They already have everything they want. If you're talking about it, I think they're going to move it to 16, but I don't think it's going to make anything better for the Big 12 or the SEC. Or the ACC, sorry. I mean, if you look at the ratings today, if there was 16, both BYU and Miami would be in, but Utah wouldn't because they dropped Utah again 2 more slots. They wouldn't be in the playoff at that point. And anybody that makes the championship games won't go down far enough in their ratings to lose their spot. So at the end of the day, those primarily on most seasons, those spots are going to go to the Big Ten and the SEC. So I don't think there's a lot they would want to change, if anything. The best change would be to go to 24 and give everybody more slots, guaranteed. But it all comes down to what Brett Yormark's going to do. At the end of the day, he dove into this. We want to earn it on the field, and that's come back to bite him, as we all told him it was going to, at least those of us that were willing to take the barbs from the greater Big 12 community said. But this was highly predictable that this was going to happen.
Well, so it's looking like if they stay at 16, the Big 12 would have to be in somewhat of a perfect situation for it to ever be considered for 3 spots, right? And that would be probably 2 undefeated teams meeting in the conference title game, and then maybe a 1 or 2 loss team on the outside. And that's the best case scenario, which aren't going to happen every year.
No.
So I see where you're saying. Just take your 2, because that at least takes away the chance of being messed over and just only getting 1 spot or getting no spots, like maybe is going to happen to the ACC.
Oh, exactly. And I think it's really important for Big 12 fans in general to sound up get on Twitter, go to their representatives at these different schools and complain and tell them, look, we can see what's happening. We're going to continue to get shafted year in, year out. Earn it on the field doesn't mean anything to anybody but Brett Yormark in his little head. And we need change. They're going to have to demand change. Otherwise, nothing's going to change. And I don't know if Brett Yormark has the ego hit in him to sit in front of a camera and say, I was wrong. We want to change to 2 AQs. Because the minute that happens, the Big 12's lost all his leverage. It had leverage before. It has leverage, no leverage now because they've done it 2 years in a row. The ACC doesn't either. Both of them have been screwed. The ACC got 2 in last year, but it was only because the SEC screwed up the last week of games, not because the ACC deserved it, right? And I don't think that happens again. I think this season was the correction to that problem from last year. It was highly predictable, and I think it's just going to continue to be this way going forward.
Did you ask Cody Campbell that question?
I did.
What he wanted? What did he say?
Yeah, he didn't answer it.
Okay.
He didn't answer it. Yeah, at the end of the day.
Good for you for asking.
I'm not afraid of asking him anything. At the end of the day, he needs, his school is part of the Big 12 too, though. And he sees what's happening. And I've sent him a couple DMs asking him for comment about BYU, and he won't touch it. So that tells me that either he's been told not to say anything publicly, or he just doesn't want to ask a question that he doesn't want the answer to. Either way,
he's got
there was nothing
narrative that he's got to work on.
Yeah, I think so. Especially when you're the guy who's the primary booster for a football program that's now winning the Big 12 and will continue to win it going forward until something else changes.
Well, is next year when do these the front-loaded deals get kicked back to where they're more on a level playing field? Is it next year they're supposed to kick in?
Front-loaded deals of what?
Oh, one of the reasons they got around the NIL this year was because they front-loaded it before the July date or whatever. So I don't know if next year in July is kind of the reset button.
I don't think anybody's going to let regulations get in the way. These schools are smart enough to be able to look at the letter of the law, and they will work around those restrictions. Yeah. The schools that have the money are going to continue to have the power, and the CSC, NIL Go, none of that stuff is going to stop just because the date has now gone by, and now they have to sort of put deals through a different, view. I don't think that's a problem at all for these schools. They're going to find a way to get the money to the players.
Well, I can't wait to see the crumble cookie commercials come out. Players all over the place.
Boy, I can't wait either. Don't be surprised if you start seeing a lot more cross stuff with BYU and crumble cookies, though. I bet with his dollars came a lot of commitment to get the name out there a lot more, add it to advertising. These guys don't do anything for nothing. So he's gonna get his brand value.
He's gonna get his investment back.
I think so. Yeah, I think so. He's not a dumb guy. This guy. He might be a little bit, kooky on Twitter, but he's not a stupid businessman. So I'm sure he worked it out so it benefits him too.
Yep. All right. Well, hey, I just wanted to say happy holidays and
thank you. Yeah, you
football,
too.
So.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Man.
I'm glad to hear you made it through the weekend, and let's all cheer for BYU.
Very good. We're pulling Big 12, absolutely.
I appreciate it. We'll talk to you later. Okay, bye-bye.
Okay, bye-bye.
To Town Hawk. Thank you so much to Town Hawk. I appreciate you calling in. I love hearing from you. Good callers tonight, you guys. Thank you so much for making my evening enjoyable. The last couple times I've done call-ins, people have been mute, and it's been I like talking to people, so I'm glad people have engaged tonight. We've got about another 10 minutes. I will take calls, so if you want to call me right now, it's 801-899-6203, and I will take your call and talk about, within reason, whatever you want to talk about. In the meantime, I'll continue to read some comments that we got stored away over here. Let's see, Surfundies. There's a fun name, Surfundies. Kalani has a straight line to the apostles now. Yeah, he's definitely got it into the upper echelon of the church. The one caveat to that is the church doesn't spend money through the athletic department. That's not how it works. But the administration of all school entities do run through the church. So while they're not writing checks, the athletic department writes its own checks. It's cash rich. The overall supervision is done through the church, and definitely I guarantee you that, Kalani has a lot more speed dials, I imagine. People's cell phones, maybe. I don't know. It's hard for me to believe he didn't have them before, but there was a guy in the way, and now that guy, he still might be there, but he's not an impediment to his success any longer. Bart Willoughby says, good luck against Texas Tech. Hope you win this time. I'm out. Thanks for coming on, Bart, sorry. I think Bart earlier, and then I will get to this one. Bart said earlier he's a USC season ticket holder. We want BYU in the Alamo Bowl. Man, I love the Alamo Bowl. I would love to see USC in the Alamo Bowl again. Not USC in the Alamo Bowl, but BYU to the Alamo Bowl against USC. That would be fun. I would love to see that. I think USC is a very good team, and it'd be, if USC keeps their team together, BYU generally has players that stick around and will play in these bowl games. That isn't always the case at some of these other schools. So if USC kept its team together for the most part, I'd love to see that game. That would be awesome, Bart. So we'll have to hope for that after BYU plays in the playoff, after they beat Texas Tech. Anyway. Becky Go Huskies says, has anyone checked on Utah? The state of Kansas ran for 800 yards on the line last 2 weeks. I think it was more than that, actually. Well, maybe it was, for some reason I want to say it was 900 yards, but we're quibbling over tenths. At the end of the day, Utah probably does not want to see the state of Kansas anytime soon. I don't know what happened to Utah's defensive line, though. And I should have brought this up. I forgot. I should have asked Rich Austin this when he called. I personally believe part of the reason that the 800 yards came out is because Kyle Whittingham. Originally, I postulated that Kyle Whittingham had said that this was going to be his last year, and so he was leaving. And in doing so, he turned it all over for the most part more to Scally, and Scally is the one that couldn't get the defense to react. He is the DC after all. But now I'm kind of looking at that, and maybe it's the reverse. Maybe Kyle said he wasn't leaving, or at least led people to believe he wasn't leaving, and in so doing, that put a drag onto his team the last 2 weeks. Whatever it is, there was something going on, and maybe somebody will do maybe 30 for 30. We'll dive into that and let us know why everything changed in the second to last weekend of the year. They were competing for an at-large bid at that point still, so I find it hard to believe it wasn't that they weren't relevant. So I don't know what it was, but need to dive into that a little bit more in the future. Mark's Holy Grail says Yormark and Phillips were both wrong when they sided with Darth Sankey for the 5'11". SEC has 5 of the 10 spots right now. Yeah. And if they could get 6, they would get 6. 6 would be Texas, and Texas is not getting a spot. So they're going to probably be stuck with 5. But, boy, the ACC and the Big 12 better be regretting their choices, their life choices. If they're not, next year we'll be in the same position. Both conferences will be fighting for one slot, and good luck getting it. I don't think it's ever coming back. I don't think it was ever going to come back. Ever coming back, they never had it. So I'm just trying to get social media people that are influencers like me to finally admit, oh, we screwed up. Because there's some really trusted Big 12 mouthpieces out there that have talked nothing but 5'11", 5'7", and they've been on Brett Yormark's jock about this earn it on the field crap, and it's cost them the last 2 years. So something needs to change, and I'm not afraid to call out and tell people they need to change their minds because they were all wrong. And I was right. So that's doubly good for me. Rich Austin earlier said 442231 was an absolute gift thrown the Big 12 ACC, and they pissed it away. So stupid. Rich, you could not be more accurate. I think we will call that good. Nobody else has called in. I'll do one last call, 801-899-6203. Call in right now and we'll talk. Otherwise, I'm probably going to get out of here. I appreciate everybody being and coming on tonight. This has been a fun show. Rich, I guess he's still in the chat. I thought he had to leave. But Rich says, no, that's not it at all. Our defensive line was decimated. We're playing true freshmen at defensive tackle, and they need time to put on weight and develop, and it showed against the Kansas teams. Okay, so there's the reason. I wasn't going off of any information with those opinions I just said. I didn't know. I didn't know what the reason was. So that's good to know. That's good to know. Jack Matheson says athletics department said Scally was going to take on more administration duties at Utah last year. Clearly, they were asking too much, having him take on both roles. Well, I don't know if that's true or not, but if I'm a Ute fan, I am screaming for Kyle to turn in his badge. The time has come, but that's just me. The Bell Rock. Good to have you here, the Bell Rock. Thank you so much for being here. By the way, if you're watching right now and you're not one of our frequenters, I appreciate it for one thing, spending time with me on this Tuesday night. I would encourage everybody to follow me on Twitter, subscribe on YouTube to the College Football Mafia channel. And if you're on X watching, do me a favor, jump over to YouTube. Just open up a window. You don't have to close this one. Jump over to YouTube and hit the subscribe button on the College Football Mafia network. And I would appreciate having your new subscribers. We're going to be doing lots of member videos and member events coming up in the next month or so. I would encourage you, now is a good time to become a member of the College Football Mafia family. To do that, hit the join button right in the middle of the College Football Mafia page on YouTube, and you can become a new member. But at the very least, give us a thumbs up, leave us a comment or question, let us know how we did. Get involved. We take and love taking comments from you guys. We try to do shows based on your comments and feedback. And then really hit that subscribe button on the YouTube channel. Do us a favor. It really helps us. Glenn Hanna says the 3 OCs from Oregon in 3 years got to be head coaches someplace else. Might promote within for DC, but don't have to. Lean on coordinators that have called plays who see themselves as being a head coach soon. Sounds like a good graduation plan to me. I would go with that. I like this. Harlan and Santiago should resign together. Santiago just got the job. He's not going anywhere. If I was a Utah fan, I'd be screaming for Harlan's job, though. He was Mark Harlan. to the College Football Playoff Committee, and he has done nothing but screw stuff up since he got there. I blame what's his name from Baylor for screwing that whole thing up. BYU and Utah both were getting more run when he was still there. Damn his off the field issues really pisses me off, and I will never forgive him for that because I think it did cost BYU and maybe even Utah a spot in the CFP. Once he was gone, his influence left, and Mark Harlan was promoted by Brett Yormark for some reason. I can only think it's sorcery at this point. I don't know why he got the job, but since he's been there, he's done nothing to help BYU or Utah hold the spots they were at. So he's a complete wasted space, in my opinion. He should have never been there in the first place. So we will have to see. We'll have to see where that goes. But that's kind of where we are. As we move forward, the Big 12 has a lot of work to do to get better. And that's all I can say. The whole conference needs to get better. BYU and Texas Tech, and I put Utah in there. By far this season, those are the three biggest gainers on the season. Had the most approved maybe, and certainly did the most work this season. I think this offseason, those same schools are going to be doing heavy lifting. ASU should be back next year, although I'm not sure with your quarterback. I'm not sure he's coming back. He might transfer or he might go to the NFL. We'll have to see. But everybody needs to just step up and up their game. That includes, and I would put Brett Yormark at the very tip of that list. And I don't know. I've lost all faith in him, to be perfectly honest. Jose, we need to move to either an NFL AQ model or implement the FCS model. Our current beauty contest model on Tuesdays is sickening. I could not agree with you more, Jose, and it is sickening. And I would love to get rid of it overnight. I don't think that's going to happen, at least not anytime soon, but certainly we can build to the future. The AQ model would be the best insulator for the Big 12 against falling backwards. But we need to do better just from start to finish on how we grade these teams and moving forward. I like getting rid of weeks on the rankings schedule. I think we got to get rid of all rankings till the 6th week of the season. I'm on record with that. And there's other things we could be doing to make the end of the year glamour pageant go away, because that's where we're at right now, and it's sickening. I absolutely hate it. Hate it. Everything about it. Daniel Dilly. Good to have you here, Daniel. Jordan Clay flipped his commitment from Baylor to Washington. I'm sorry, I don't know who Jordan Clay is, but Baylor is a school that has no faith in their coach. They did keep him around for another year, but that's not because they want to keep him. It's because he's too expensive to pay off. And that's the way it's going to be, especially in the A4. If you've got a school that's trying to be the best of the best, you have to participate at a higher level, and you can't keep around coaches just because you're afraid of paying out their buyouts, because you're dead from the neck up at that point. Anyway, I appreciate everybody being here tonight and to join the show. I appreciate everybody calling in and getting involved. I really appreciate all of your opinions, and you guys are why we do this, and I hope to keep doing this as long as I can. Make sure you follow on Twitter, subscribe on YouTube, and then get involved. Give us a thumbs up or leave us a comment or question. Do all those things. Help us out. And then consider becoming a member of the College Football Mafia family. Couple more comments, and then I am out of here. First one is Rich Austin says, yep, Nate's exactly right. Utah needs Kyle to retire and hand the reins to Scally. He should have retired at the end of last season, and we would have been better off this year. But he has to go this year, and I would agree with Rich. I said last season, at the end of the season, that I thought he should have been gone, to be perfectly honest. And then Bulls fan 2007. I know who this is. I'm sorry. I wish I had your alias. Moen's better at remembering all these. But good to have you here, and thank you so much for being a constant viewer of all of our stuff around here. I really appreciate it. Mark Harlan hired Charlie Strong at USF and destroyed our program. Big 12 took UCF instead. I bet they regret that now, but Harlan is trash. Dude signed an extension and then bolted for Utah 40 days later. I've never liked him, but I haven't had a rooting interest. I'm not a Utah fan, so I wasn't the guy to talk to about that. I just know in the last 2 years he has not impressed anybody. And why Brett Yormark made him the rep to the college football committee, I will have nobody can ever explain that to me, and I understand it. It makes absolutely no sense. It's crazy. Thanks to everybody for being here tonight. I think Moen has a show tomorrow night. I would look for that to break out, and look for that appointment to go out on Twitter if you haven't already. Make sure you tune in tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Eastern. I believe Moen will be here along with maybe Pecking Pickles. I'm not 100% sure on that. And then you'll see us Friday night for the college football. Sorry, for who am I again? College football. Where are we? The Mafia, right? College football Mafia around here. I'm about 5 minutes over, so I'm a little tired. College football Mafia channel around here. I appreciate seeing you guys Friday night, 8 p.m. Eastern time, and we will preview the weekend's games and talk about anything else that happens to be top of the news at that time for our Big Freaking Friday show. So see you then Friday. Otherwise, we will talk to you guys later at some point. I appreciate everything you guys do for us, and I'm very grateful for you guys being frequent viewers. Thanks so much for everything you do for us, and I will see you soon. We'll talk to you later. Go Cougs against Texas Tech, even though I love Texas Tech. Go Cougars this weekend. Peace out. We'll see you.